What's the first thing that you're doing, knowing what you know now, if you're starting a business on January 1st, 2025?
Well, it's got to be get leads. I mean, you have to go out there and knock doors. You have to do the hard work. There's a lot of other more important stuff that I think, but without that, your business, you can't pay anybody.
Fantasy roofing draft. So we're going to do a draft, assuming we're starting a roofing company January 1st, 2025. What are the things that we would implement? Me from the marketing and advertising side, my exposure to business, and Eric and the many ventures that he has that have been successful. Yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but progress over perfection, folks. So we're gonna give our perspective as far as things that are important. Eric, why don't you lead off? What's the first thing that you're doing, knowing what you know now, if you're starting a business on January 1st, 2025?
Well, it's got to be get leads. I mean, you have to go out there and knock doors. You have to do the hard work, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, because there's a lot of other more important stuff that I think, but without that, your business, you can't pay anybody.
Okay.
So I would say start with the cheapest marketing you can get. Yard signs, very cheap, super effective. And you don't even have to put them in everybody's yard. Put them on the corner of every Publix or Kroger or Meijer that's near you. Flyers, sending your own flyers, doing a lot of work. We still send our own flyers at my company. We drop them all off at the post office. That way they get there next day.
So while we're doing that, I would say concurrently or at the same time, I'm going to reach out to people in my market like Eric that have shown that they can be successful, that they know what they're doing. And I'm going to try to buy as many of them lunch as possible to have an understanding of what got them from where I'm at to where they are. And I'm going to do as many of the things that I can that are low or no cost to make sure that we're consistently getting those leads, getting those opportunities, and building that strong foundation to put the walls, the roof on top of.
Absolutely. And then I'd say you got to get your GMB going, right? Like without your GMB, you don't exist. And your GMB is free. Fill it out properly. Like Mike said, model other companies that have a complete GMB profile and start gathering reviews. Every time you do a repair, even if it's fixing a gutter, you don't even have to accept money, just trade it for a review. Start to get those reviews up. As soon as you get those reviews up, you build credibility. I mean, it's crazy what will happen from 0 to 15 reviews. It's going to help you, right?
Yep.
So to have a complete GMB and start running.
Yes, and with that, I'm going to take it a step further. And I'm going to say every homeowner that you talk to, that you do an inspection for, that you have a conversation with and provide some sort of value, if we're not going to have a conversation where this goes from me helping you to me selling and solving a problem for you, I'm going to ask them one question. Did you find any of the stuff that we talked about today helpful? If they say yes, I'm going to say, great. Will you do me a small favor? When they say yes, I'm going to send them a link to my GMB. I'm going to ask them to share their experience. Money doesn't necessarily have to exchange hands. If you're giving them value, it's not inappropriate to ask them to share their experience with your company. You don't want to ask them to be misleading. That's how you take somewhat of a positive hack and turn it into something that you don't want to do. But there's nothing wrong with it. And that will significantly bolster your review count in year 1, 2, 3. And you should never stop doing it, honestly.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
What's next?
I would say invoicing, keeping track of your taxes, keeping track of your paperwork. The back of the office stuff is just as important as the front of the office stuff. So whether you're logging into, I know there's all these little apps that like Subs will invoice me from, that will keep track of all your invoices and your payables and receivables, making sure that as you grow in your business at the end of the year, you're not handing your accountant a shoebox full of receipts, right? Like we're making sure that we're getting all of our deductions, that our company is set up properly, whether it's a DBA, an S Corp, an LLC, getting all that back of the house stuff done in order to succeed it will help you all the way through. And if you get in the habit of doing it, it just becomes a ritual. And if you don't, and you just pay attention to where you're going versus building that foundation, it's just going to create headaches in the future. So the quickest you can discipline yourself into being organized with your finances, your budgets, what your deductions are, your receivables, payables, will always help you throughout your entire career.
Yeah, that's smart. And to the shoebox of receipts things, God forbid Uncle Sam comes around 3 years later and starts asking questions about 3 years ago. The last thing you want to do is try to mount a defense with you finding 3 shoeboxes full of receipts and paying your accountant hourly to suss through those, right? Yep. If you've got them in a spreadsheet, if you got them organized to where you can just pass it along, they can withstand the scrutiny. your life is going to be a lot less
And with today's
frictionful.
apps, I mean, there's really no excuse, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter if you have $0 in the account. I mean, you can find free templates, apps, starter apps. I mean, there's pictures, company cam. I mean, you could create spreadsheets in Excel. I mean, there's plenty of places to do it.
Yeah, so maybe we jump the gun too. So we'll talk about, you want to create your EIN. I'd probably I'd scrape together $700, whatever it's going to take to have an attorney do the EIN, give me some baseline advice as far as starting it.
Yep.
Find a good merchant as far as credit cards, for sure, because we want to, if somebody's kind enough to want to give us a shot to service their home, we want to be able to take the money, okay? And if it's not an insurance job and if they don't have cash, okay, pay with your credit card. Fantastic. I would also start setting the framework for conversations for financing. And I'm going to decide who my manufacturer is going to be, who I like based on my experience. And I'm going to start having conversations with them about how they can help us and with our supplier. Can you send us opportunities? What do we have to do to get to the point where you feel confident sending us opportunities? How can you help contribute to our marketing budget? And a lot of guys, they have the misconception is I'm too small to have that conversation. Don't wait until you have the leverage you need. Identify what the leverage point is. So maybe they say, okay, when you do X amount of squares a year, we'll give you this.
Yep.
Then a graduated plan where it's tiered, it's gated. If you do this many squares, we'll give you this much more. Now there's an expectation that you guys can meet with one another where it's predictable and you can understand you have something to shoot for. You have a goal, an objective.
I was going to piggyback with that. Now you have a target to hit.
Yes.
I remember when I first was negotiating my rebates, my highest tier, I don't remember what it was. I don't really remember, but I was like, man, it'd take me 20 years to ever be able to buy that many squares. But it was a target, right? And I was able to hit it 1 year. Bam, got it. So, yeah, I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So,
Okay.
how drive?
Yes, sir. I would take a look at building a really robust website. And that's not saying hiring a marketing agency to do it. There's, whether it's Ascend or any other marketing agency that consistently gets positive feedback, good reviews, go find some of our clients. Take a look at their websites. Pay attention to the pages that we're building out, how we're organizing them, where we're positioning things. Try to duplicate that in, it could be in a CMS like Squarespace or WordPress or Dude, it doesn't matter. Have a foundationally strongly built website with decent content. The longer that's on the internet, the better off you're going to be.
Absolutely. And I mean, what you're doing right now is you're watching this video. I mean, there's tons of videos from install to, sales and sales tactics and everything, right? There's content for everything.
Yep.
So, I mean, not knowing and not being prepared is just a poor excuse, right? You got to get out there and do it.
Got to get out there and do it. I'm going to find every single social media group, community group within my service areas, and I'm going to try to get in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get a couple friends in there,
100%.
advocating for us anytime somebody's looking for a roofing company, exteriors, etc. And I guess to piggyback off of that, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to get at least 5 to 10 contractors that are selling the same customer as me, maybe at a different time. So think landscape. Landscapers, they go to people's house to cut the lawn once a week usually. Maybe they don't see the customer every week, but they usually have a good relationship because it's high touch.
Absolutely.
Snowplow companies, pool companies, concrete, chimney. I mean, there's so many of them, painting, where you guys can have conversations, have strategic alliances where you can send business back and forth to one another.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all good stuff, and it all works kind of in one. But it obviously it's going to take work and focus. But you got to start. You just got to start. And you gotta,
shoot the fucking ball.
You got to shoot the ball, right? You got to shoot the ball. I mean, we can go back and forth, right? Like, what's more important than this? And this is the first thing. This is the second thing. But really, I mean, it's your mindset and your focus, right? Where the focus goes, the energy flows. So when you're focusing on something and you want it so bad and you need it, right? Like, you always figure out a way when you need it. If you think of back to the days where you needed something you shouldn't need, and you were in high school or whatever, and you're like, hey, I'm going to this party and I need this, like, hell or high water, you're gonna find that, right? And you're gonna find the money to purchase what you want.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like, if you want it bad enough, I mean, you put in the work and you get it done.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to put that analogy in the video or not, but
Yeah, I think it's good. One thing that I tell people, especially with the stuff that requires delayed gratification, think back to a time in your life, and in roofing, a lot of the times, somebody's worked for somebody where they got paid cash every day.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, you get your 50 bucks, whatever, 30 bucks, depending on how old you are.
Yeah.
Think about how hard you worked, how you didn't leave early, you stayed as long as they needed you because you knew if you didn't, you weren't getting that cash. You knew how bad you needed that cash. Pursue the shit that's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years to manifest the same way as if you were getting cashed out every fucking day.
Yeah, that's the difference. The pros and the joes, man, for sure.
And if you do that, your level of success that you'll achieve and how compressed that timeline will be to actualize that will be so substantially different than if you're half-stepping the entire way.
Especially with the resources today. You know, I mean, it's unlimited. There's books and content but yeah, I mean, I think getting all the cheapest web stuff going, right? A lot of it's free. I mean, how much can you design a website for yourself on like WordPress or Wix or one of those?
Like $100 for the
right, $100, right? And it's not going to be great, but you got a landing page to link to your GMB.
Yeah.
You have, now you have something. You have business cards with QR code with your website on it, and there's a way to track and start to get into that mode.
Yep. I think it was Hermosi I was watching recently, and he's like, it's never been as easy as it's been today to succeed, also fail.
Yeah.
With the level of information and access to people, places, things, and how the ease of access to those things, it makes it so easy to be successful.
It's so easy to fail.
So easy to fail because there's so many fucking distractions, and it's so
so
easy.
much pollution,
it's so easy to be the dog and like squirrel, squirrel,
right.
squirrel. I'm the fucking worst. I mean, me locking in and getting like that mental focus 100% is one of the biggest challenges that I fight every day.
Same.
I do things and don't do things to try to influence the most focused outcome for myself. And, I keep myself in check pretty well. But there's still times where I open up a Google tab, 37 minutes later, I've got 50 open. I don't know what the fuck I started with, right? Like that.
Because it grabs your attention. Everything's down to the science now, these ads and where they direct them. And then, you're looking at Facebook and other people's Facebook and comparing your life and yourself and your car and this and that, and it's just brain pollution. Right?
I was reading 10X is easier than 2X.
It's a good book.
And one of the things that really hit me was I have always subscribed to the theory that time is your most valuable currency. And this made me think that I've been living a lie. Attention is the most valuable currency because the amount of tension and focus per unit of time that you're allocating is going to dictate what you get out of the time that you're investing into something.
Yeah.
So that shit really, that made the whole book worth it. And I'm lying when I say the whole book because I only read about 40% of it. And if I'm being honest, I lied again because I didn't really read it. I listened to it. So, okay. I just want to be 100% transparent.
I think that's a clear point, though.
But that nugget, though, was worth the time I've already invested and whatever else I'll invest in finishing it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If I'm listening to content, whether it's an interview, it's a podcast, it's a book, I'm out there. It's like my golf game.
Yeah.
I know I'm not fucking scratch golfer. I know it's not going to happen. I'll probably shoot somewhere between like a 90 and a 105.
Yep.
That's okay. I'm there for that one shot.
Right.
Give me that one shot.
That one shot.
Give me a fucking nugget.
Yeah.
Give me one good piece of information. When I sit here and spend 4 hours listening to this book or 2 hours of this podcast, I'm there for one thing. I don't need massive impact. I don't expect that. I just want to, and sometimes that one thing, it's not new information. It's affirmation of something that I thought about and that I already forgot about.
Or it's just somebody put it in words that you understood it a little bit more clear, and or you were just in the mind state, or the mind state that it just clicked for you.
Yep.
Right?
Man, that's a fucking good one. Any closing notes? Shoot the fucking ball.
Yeah, shoot the ball. I mean, get out there and get it. There's no excuses. I mean, these conferences are so valuable. I mean, just the relationships and I wouldn't know Mike if it wasn't for the conferences. We just started hanging out.
Yeah, we were sitting at the table yesterday. Tyler was having a conversation with, I think, Ethan. He's like, this is why I came to the conference. He got the one thing.
Yep.
He's like, that was worth this entire trip.
Yep, and that's it. That's it.
So put yourself in situations where you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to develop in some sort of capacity that's going to positively impact your life, your business, your situation. And if you rinse and repeat that day in and day out, you look back a few years from now, you'll be really happy that you did.
Yeah, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better.
Hey, and we gone.